When Silicon Valley Bank was closed, it was the 16th largest bank in America. 15 years later, in March 2008, Bear Stearns collapsed. Bear Stearns was an important but smaller global bank back in 2008. There are many differences between Silicon Valley Bank and Bear Stearns, so it's hard to make comparisons in every area but one. Bear Stearns was the first in the financial crisis of 2008, and Silicon Valley Bank is the first in 2023. We don't know just how far that aspect of the analogy will carry out this year, but Bear Stearns does stand as an absolute warning that the worst may be yet to come. Can it happen this year? Will there be a string of closures leading to a full-blown financial crisis? If so, what can we do about it? Before we answer those questions, let's look at Silicon Valley Bank, Signature Bank, First Republic, Credit Suisse, and the others that seem troubled and find out why. From my view, there were 5 factors that combined to cause a run on Silicon Valley Bank. It resulted in the bank closure by the FDIC, and those 5 factors are 1, rising interest rates, 2, fractional banking, 3, a woke approach, 4, FDIC deposit insurance, and the potential 5th factor may have been economic warfare, both foreign and domestic. Let's start with rising interest rates. Normally, this is considered good for banks because the rates that banks can earn usually exceed the rate that banks pay depositors. This is known as the spread, and the higher the better. Except for one problem. When interest rates are held exceptionally low for a long period of time, it's hard to make money. And coming out of the 2008 crisis, banks were encouraged to buy and hold U.S. government bonds, considered the safest securities on the planet. They're also considered generally to be risk-free. The problem came in that the rates stayed near zero for so long that bankers became complacent and starting to look for ways to get higher yields. They paid depositors practically nothing for savings, and then they turned around and invested that money in U.S. government bonds paying 2% or more. That was about the only way that they believed they could earn a safe spread, so they stretched for longer bonds with greater yields, and the money piled in. Lots of new money came in from government handouts and stimulus programs, and at Silicon Valley Bank, depositors also came in with tech startups and venture capital money. SVB was considered the safe bank. And when a company raised $100 million in their IPO launch, they'd put the money into Silicon Valley Bank and become part of a club, just like all the successful entrepreneurs and startups before them. It's hip, it's cool to be a customer. You get to go to cool parties, and everybody that you look up to is doing the same thing. Then interest rates started rising. By the way, we told you they would on this program back in episodes 124 and 125, titled The Inflation Threat and Things Have Changed, respectively. Those episodes aired in February of 2021 when no one was expecting inflation or higher interest rates, but we were spot on. When interest rates rise, bond prices fall. That's especially true for bonds with a long time to maturity, like 30-year Treasury. Now, it makes sense if you think about it. Who wants a 30-year bond paying 2% when the new ones offer 4%? Now, if you hold your bond to maturity, you get all your money back plus the interest that you were promised. But 30 years is a long time to wait. Silicon Valley Bank had a lot of long-dated bonds, and they took a valuation hit when rates rose. And they weren't alone. Now, that by itself didn't sink the bank. The regulators in general seemed willing to keep the bonds at face value on the books and not force a markdown. After all, these were Treasury bonds. Plus, interest rates might come down over time. When the year 2023 started, SVB actually became somewhat of a Wall Street darling, at least in January and February. Even Mad Money's Jim Cramer appeared to be a fan of the stock. But something happened on Sunday morning, March 12th. Kim.com tweeted about a bank run. He said, "Run on the bank, get your money out first thing on Monday."